respect it, Stella. You go home and get some rest. When would you like me to come back? I have things on, but you're my priority now, I swear. Can I give you a call in the morning once I've had some sleep? Sure. Good night, dear. And I'm so very sorry to have upset you. That's okay, I said, as I opened the front door for her. At least there's one thing that's cheered me up. And what is that? That I really am descended from a line of princesses. I smiled at her. Good night, Stella. You guys were certainly having a long conversation, Lizzie commented, as I walked into the kitchen the following morning, feeling like I'd done a few lines on a whole bottle of goose last night. We sure were, yes, I agreed, as I walked across to the coffee machine to pour myself a strong shot. So, are you all sorted with your grandmother? I wouldn't put it like that, but I think we're getting somewhere now. Yes. Good, good. Well, you know I would never want to interfere, but I'm here if you ever want to talk about it, Electra. I know, Lizzie. Thanks. I'm off to the bank this morning. Hopefully they'll have found the right forms I need to sign so I can have my funds released to me. Then I can get out of your hair. Lizzie, seriously? I absolutely love having you here. In fact, I'd be so upset if you left right now. On my road to self-discovery, I found I'm not cool living by myself. So, how about you move in permanently? Oh, Electra, I'd jump at the chance, but I simply can't afford what must be an exorbitant rent. For one thing, you know money isn't an issue for me, and for another, I've also been thinking that I might like to live elsewhere in the city. My lease is up in a few months' time. I went to Harlem with Miles the other day, and it has a real community feel. Up here, you could just about be anywhere, couldn't you? If you mean that it's impersonal like a hotel, then yes, you'd be right. Harlem, with Miles, eh? Lizzie grinned at me. I never did get to hear the lowdown on him last night. I mean, it's obvious how he feels, but what about you? You've got it wrong, Lizzie. Miles and I are just good friends. We're helping Vanessa and working on a project together. Even though he's had plenty of opportunity, he's never even tried, well, anything. Maybe he's shy, Electra, or overwhelmed. I mean, you are officially one of the world's most beautiful women. He probably feels he's punching above his weight, Lizzie said, as she stood up and went to the counter. Fancy some avocado on toast? If I can't eat it, I'll enjoy making it for someone who can. Yeah, why not? Anyway, she continued, that's my theory on Miles. He might be a serious piece of manhunk, but he's hardly the kind of brand name celeb slash billionaire you normally date, is he? No, I guess he isn't, thank God. You know what? I never thought about it like that. Then maybe you should. Oh, and changing the subject for a minute. When I was in the kitchen last night, making myself scarce, I hope you don't mind, but I looked through your sketchbook. Lizzie indicated it lying on the table. Some of those designs are really, really great. Thanks, but they're just doodles. I started drawing again in rehab, remember? You should do something with them, Electra. I'd definitely buy them. I love that whole ethnic look. As a matter of fact, I was thinking about that yesterday. Like maybe having the materials ethically sourced and putting the profits from the collection towards a drop-in center. I mean, I don't need the money, do I? Oh, how I wish those words rang true for me too. I think it's a fabulous idea, she said, as she spooned the avocado onto rye toast. Once Lizzie had left to go to her bank and Mariam had arrived, I took a shower and thought about whether I was up for seeing Stella today, then decided I was, or at least I had to be. I just needed to know. Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. Pa's quote for me on the armillary sphere kept floating into my brain. Perhaps he had chosen it because he'd known that Stella was going to make contact with me and ultimately tell me the story of my heritage. If he felt it was right for me to know, then I really had to trust that it was. After all, he'd loved me more than any other human on the planet. With that thought empowering me, I called Stella, who picked up immediately and asked her if she could come by later today. Of course. Or maybe you'd like to come over to me? You could see where Cecily and I lived together. You're still in the same apartment? I am, yes, and it's not changed much since, Stella chuckled. Okay, I'll come to you. What time? 3 o'clock would suit. We can drink tea out of Cecily's bone china service. I wrote down the address, then hung up and went into the kitchen to see Mariam. Morning, I smiled at her. Good morning, Electra. How are you today? I'm good. I'm heading out this afternoon to visit my grandmother and probably won't be back until later. Oh, okay. I looked down at her covered head, and her neat little fingers flying across the keyboard as she typed. There was just something about her body language that told me all wasn't well, but it wasn't my business to pry. A couple of things, I said as I took a Coke out of the fridge. Do you think you could look into cotton sourced from Africa? Preferably Kenya. Of course I could, Mariam said. May I ask why? Because I'm thinking of designing a collection. I want all the profits to go to the drop-in center that Miles is trying to keep open. Mariam's reaction, like Lizzie's, was very positive, and we spent an interesting half an hour researching possible sources. It would be amazing if you could actually go over there and meet the women who were making these fabrics, commented Mariam. Maybe one day I will. My ancestors